You're watching CBS News Los Angeles, The Rundown.
Hello, everyone. I'm Juan Fernandez, and here's a look at your top stories. We begin with breaking news. Socialite Rebecca Grossman has been sentenced to 15 years to life in prison. She was convicted on second-degree murder and other charges in the hit-and-run deaths of two young boys in Westlake Village back in 2020. All right, take a look at this. This is video of the Grossman family and her legal team leaving the Van Nuys courthouse. They did not talk to reporters on their way out. Back in February, Grossman was found guilty of 2 counts of each of second-degree murder and vehicular manslaughter with gross negligence and 1 count of hit and run. Brothers Mark and Jacob Iskander, ages 8 and 11, seen right here, were killed. Grossman was taken into custody minutes after the jury's verdict. We spoke to the victim's uncle after the sentencing came down.
I think the sentence is fair. You know what really bothers me that she still never apologized for her role in the accident. All what she said that she's sorry about the death of the kids. She never accepted responsibility for her action, for speeding, drinking, racing. The worst part is that she did not stop.
All right, here now with more insight on today's sentencing is criminal defense attorney Rachel Fassé. Thanks for being with us once again, Rachel.
My pleasure. Thank you.
First off, your initial reaction to today's proceeding.
My initial reaction is that this is a middle of the road sentence. Getting 15 years is definitely a harsh time. That's real time served, 15 years to life. So we don't really know when the sentence will end. But the judge could have opted to give her 34 years or even 12 years. So this appears to be very much of a discretionary sentence and very much of what the judge just decided to do, what he thought was right.
Do you think age ever comes into play when sentencing does come down? I mean, she's a woman in her 60s now and in a 14. I mean, this will get her into her late 70s almost, right?
Right. So this is possible that she doesn't ever see freedom again after this sentence. That is possible. Or she comes out a much older woman, and age does come into play. So I think the judge may have been weighing that maybe she doesn't deserve to spend the rest of her life behind bars, but basically the majority of the rest of her life, the rest of her more active years will be spent in prison.
And Rachel, we were talking about this. Prosecutors, they wanted a 34-year to life in state prison sentence. Defense attorneys wanted probation or state prison term of just over 12 years. Any idea what either side is thinking this afternoon now that the sentencing is over?
I think probably the defense side is thinking they're going to appeal. She's got a lot of resources. That's
right.
Very likely. And the prosecution is probably thinking this is a victory, but not as big as it could have been. I think this is really one of those splitting the babies type of sentencings.
Right. And, besides the tragedy and the high emotions related to the case, we've been covering this since the day that it happened. Why do you think there's just so much interest in a case like this?
Well, for one thing, it's just terribly sad and senseless. But you have a philanthropist, someone who is a socialite in the community and causing such deep and horrible pain to this family. So I think people are just interested in it from a variety of human interest sides. And
we heard from the boy's uncle, and I'm sure you heard him too. He was saying that Rebecca Grossman never said, "I'm sorry," never took any responsibility. That must be tough for the victim's family and for anyone watching this from a criminal defense attorney's point of view. I mean, is it something you want the person to take responsibility for, or at least say, "I'm sorry"? It's something so simple, right? And I'm sorry, but the family never got it.
Sentencings are about I'm sorry and taking remorse. And today she did appear to acknowledge the family's deep pain caused, but throughout time, she has not taken responsibility. She has not seemed remorseful. And I think that came into play both in her conviction and in today's sentencing, that she could have done this much better.
Interesting that something like saying I'm sorry could have maybe changed her sentencing. All right, Rachel Fassé, thank you so much for your time and insight today. Once again, we appreciate you joining us here on Kcal News.
Thank you.
All right, some more news here. Dozens of suspects caught on camera breaking into an AutoZone store in South LA. Kcal News reporter Jeff Nguyen has an update on the investigation.
Jeff Nguyen here in South LA, and we are at the corner of Century Boulevard and Hoover Street, and as you can see right behind me, the intersection here is completely blackened with tire marks. Now, this, police say, was part of a street takeover at about 4 o'clock this morning. At one point, about 50 people went into the AutoZone store right behind us, broke into the store and ransacked the place. Right now, management here is not talking about what happened at the store or what was stolen. So we don't have video of what happened inside, but there was a freelance photographer who was here when the street takeover happened, and that person was able to record the looting that took place. We did, however, speak to a man who has a private contract with AutoZone, who deals with the security system, the alarm system, as well as the camera system. And he wasn't able to access the security camera, but he was able to go through the store and sort of take stock, if you will, in terms of what was taken. And he says it was just very random. There was no rhyme or reason as to why people took certain things. It was kind of like a free-for-all, and they grabbed whatever they could and bolted out of here. So right now the store is up and running. There is a team of employees here who are trying to deal with the inventory to check to see what was stolen, and we are also told that workers from nearby stores are here as well, working here to figure out what was stolen to also help provide relief to the store here. We did speak to a number of people in this neighborhood who tell us that these street takeovers happen quite often, and they're quite frankly fed up with it. They wish the response time from the police departments were better and that there was more enforcement in this area. So we will stay on top of this for you and have more for you on this coverage on Kcal News beginning at 4 p.m.
All right, we'll see Jeff more at 4. All right, the final no U-turn and no cruising signs in Silver Lake were removed today. Activists say they targeted the LGBTQ plus community back in the 90s.
Growing up in South Central Los Angeles, cruising had a very different meaning. It usually meant folks in their lowriders or their cars, a lot of hip hop music. But here in Silver Lake, cruising, of course, meant something very different. It meant an opportunity for the LGBT community to try to find human connection and intimacy, and to be able to express themselves in a society at the time that was not very welcoming to the LGBT community.
Residents we spoke to say they've wanted these signs taken down for a long time. They're happy to see them finally removed. We have a great update to a story we brought you earlier this month. The restored art panels on the beloved Snoopy Bridge were officially unveiled. There they are. Look how many people showed up for it, too. The 90-foot pedestrian bridge is across from Tarzana Elementary School. Its art panels were recently vandalized, but thanks to advocates, to city officials, and the Haddis Studio team, it's back and better than ever. There's Snoopy and Lucy. Thanks so much for watching. This has been CBS News Los Angeles, The Rundown. I'm Juan Fernandez. We'll be back live here at 4 on CBS News Los Angeles.
CBS News Los Angeles, your local news, streaming wherever, whenever.